Okay. With that, Brother Krishnan, feel free to take it away. Krishnan, you hear me?
Saram, Saram, can you all hear me?
Yeah. Perfect.
Saram, so first of all, I would like to offer my humble salutations at the divine feet of our dear Mother Sai. And I really appreciate Sriram for giving this opportunity. So, where to start, right? Um, I know everybody has a lot of stories. So, in this session, I would like to say how I think of Swami and what Swami means to me. I mean, I have a few experiences which I've had, and letting you know, I am the worst example of a Sai student because I do not do half of the things what he says. And so please understand, and please don't feel that I'm doing it this way. But that's the relation I have built up with Swami, and actually, I love Swami. Like, if there's anything that has happened to me in my life, that's all because of him. But that relationship I built, that's it. So I understand that everybody has a different relationship. And when I was there, um, at the school, that's how I understood. All my friends had a different relationship with Swami. So I know one thing I'd like to start, right? Like, if you saw, I started my speak my whatever I'm talking. I started by uh, giving salutation to Mother Sai. I know we know that Father's Day is coming, but still Swami is always like a mother to me. So there is a this I feel why most of us, at least most of us in school, we always call Swami as Mother Sai, or we always start with Lotus Feet of Mother Sai or Divine Mother, whatever. So Swami is exactly like a mother. So when you say that, I know many of you are born and brought up here, but we who grew up in India, uh, the mother is like, it's funny, right? How moms work. So let's say you get cranky. So the first time you get cranky for a lollipop or a candy or whatever, you get it, right? You get cranky, you get it, and then you think, okay, the moment I get cranky, I'm going to get this. So next time you want it, you get cranky again, and then then there's some, your mom shows some stubborn. She's like, she doesn't want to give you, but she's like, my child, okay, I don't want to create a scene. Let him have it, and he gives it. The third time she's mad, so she's like, she's not going to give it to you right away, but she'll still give you. But there's a process of that. And then the fourth time, she's going to start ignoring you first. She's like, I'm not going to ignore you, but then you as a kid, you're going to be more and more cranky. And then what happens, you understand that, okay, now if I become more cranky, maybe I'll get it. So you increase your crankiness to the next level. And then finally, then she might budge that one time, but the next time when you do the same, instead of getting you the chocolate, you she comes back and gives you four thupperts on your back, or you get nice trashing from your mom. And that's end of story. And then you never get cranky for that. And so Swami is exactly like that. And our Swami has been exactly like that to me. So whenever something happens, the first time I wanted, Swami's like, okay, I understand. Okay, here you go, take it. And then I'm like, oh, okay, so this is it. Like, I just need to be cranky with Swami, right? So Swami is like, second time Swami is like, no. And then the third time Swami is like ignoring me, and then I get more cranky. And then comes the fallback, right? Then I get what I like, then I get the wrath of him. So, I mean, wrath in the sense, it's not like it's a very bad thing, but I learned my lesson. He gives me enough of a punishment to show that, okay, this is not what I want of you, and this is not what I expect from you. And then the things happen. So it smoothens out. So same way, Swami is always like that. Swami has always done that to me. Anything for that example. But there are things, as a mom, how she understands the kids needs it. Swami always understands that and comes and gives to us. So that's why I call her my mom. Also at the same time, I like to say, at least in my when I grew up, my mom is always my best friend. I can always go and tell her all my things and how I feel about it and things like that. And that's how I see Swami too. I can tell Swami anything I want. And it happens the same way. I fight a lot with my mom. Like, if I do not like what is happening, or if I have a problem with somebody else, 90% of the time my mom is the one who gets the blunt of it, because I will be pissed off or I'll be like mad at something not happening, and then my mom will come and talk to me, and immediately I would like shout at her, yell at her, or whatever, and then she gets it. But like a mom, nobody can be like a mom, right? Like if you shout at some other random person, obviously they'll feel bad. Maybe one time they'll be like okay, but then later they'll just move away from you. But your mom is never going to move away. She's going to love you no matter what. Like even, I mean, even in the worst cases, if I've heard of kids trashing mom and stuff like that. I've not done that, but I've yelled at my mom a lot, but she still loves me the same amount, and I'm pretty sure day by day it is only increased. And that's exactly same with Swami. And I if I don't get things what I want, maybe it's a small thing, but that's how I see Swami. Like, I just go and I'm like, I want this. I'm cranky. I shout at him because I like how I consider my mom. I also consider him like my best friend. So for me, everything is like to tell him, hey, this is what I want, and like trying to get it out of him. Maybe it's not good for me. And Swami has many a times not given me what I wanted, knowing because he's Sarvantriyami, he knows everything. But that's how I treat Swami. And that's a beauty, right? That's the only relationship you can have with him. Um, that's such a nice relationship to have. And you always see that. And then you always start to see his blessings fall on you, the grace flow through him. And it's always there. He's always there with me. That's what I've seen. Every step I've taken in my life, he has always been there. And I mean, 2 days back, I was even actually mad at Sriram. I was like having something going on, and then Sriram texts me about some YA thing. I was literally pissed off, and something was not working out. And I was mad at Swami, and I was like literally sitting in front of altar and shouting at him, like, "Why am I not getting this? Like, I really want this. Why am I not getting it?" And Swami, being his usual self, thinks it's not happening. And I take it out of Sriram. I didn't mean to take it out of him, but like that, all my anger was at Swami. And he sent me a message, something related to Swami. And I'm like, why should I do this? You're not doing this to me. But after some time, it actually worked out. Swami gave me what I wanted. It just took some time. And like yesterday, I was happy because that thing, at least half of what I wanted did work out. So that's just an example of how Swami is. But you also have to be careful, because the moment she uh, Swami is like, okay, I'm done with you, I'm going to go into my mother mode, whereas the beast mode coming out, you need to be really careful, because otherwise you are in trouble, and you do not want that trouble. Trust me when I say you don't want that trouble. That's not something you do not want from Swami. So even your mom, it's okay, but when it comes to Swami, it's a little bit more skeptical. So let's not get there. So, but he has his own divine ways of showing this. Okay. So first I'd like to share one story. This happened to me. Okay. And like, so a little bit on that, it's somewhat similar on the same topic, but also I would like to say, man proposes, God disposes. This is one of Swami's words. So I want to talk about that. You can do all you want. You can think that this is how it's going to happen, and this is what I'm going to do. This is where I'm going to go. But Swami is very funny. He will make sure that he gets what he wanted. So this was I finished my 12th, and so I was in Swami school. Being in Swami school is a difficult part. Like it's a very big burden on our shoulders, because Swami always says, "My kids, you should show to others," and so we have to wake up at like early in the morning, do bhajans, do prayers, and do this and do that. And I grew up in a time when mobile phones were coming out. People were just starting to get mobile phones, and going into Swami school and not being able to use mobile phones, not able to listen to MP3s. I don't know if any of you knows what MP3s are, but when I was growing up, that was a big thing. You could use that to listen to phones and like music and stuff like that. You didn't need a phone; it's just to listen to music and stuff like that. So it's like an iPod, but yeah, even before iPod, I guess. So you went to Swami school, and now you're done 2 years. I mean, I was like, I'm done. I just don't want to be here. I want to go into the outside school. And those who are familiar from India, I wanted to go to Bangalore, and I wanted to go to a school called Joseph's in Bangalore. It's a pretty decent school. It's one of the best schools in Bangalore. It's a difficult to get admission there, but I had good academics, and being in Swami school, academics always came along with that. So that was the case. So so I went and I didn't get the entrance. I mean, I got everything, and we were talking about in my house, and I didn't want to join Swami school, so I didn't do well in any of the entrance exam, and so I did not get a seat in Swami school. I was not very sad. I mean, I was little sad because some of my friends got into Swami school, and like after effect of thinking, oh, I should have also gotten it. But then I was like, okay, it's fine, not a big deal. Now I can go to Joseph. So I was preparing everything for Joseph's, right? And so that was the time when my mom was like literally she didn't want me to go to Joseph's for whatever reason. And so she was looking at other schools, and I said that I will not study in my hometown. So I'm from Kerala, and I said I'll not study in my hometown. So and then so my mom sees an advertisement for Amrita University, and she doesn't tell me anything. She just calls them up and sends my details. And unlike today, you don't have to write sat or any kind of things for us. You just need to call them. And I was definitely not going into an engineering background, so I never had to write any exam or anything. It was basically you just call them. If you have good grades and stuff, you can easily get a seat into BCom and BBA and stuff like that. So my mom does all that background work, and they're glad to accept me to the university. And so she comes and tells me, hey, do you want to go here? And I'm like, I'm not going to any school where people are wearing yellow robes. And this is what I literally said. I'm not going to any school where people are wearing yellow or white and saffron robes. I'm done with all those things. I want to go to a normal school. I want to be a normal kid. And I'm stubborn, so my mom had no way of convincing me. So then this is going on. So my mom comes and says, so she's like, I want Swami's blessings. Only then we'll go to that school. So I'm like, okay. So she said, we'll go to Parthi. And then so it's Bangalore. So we travel. The plan was we'll travel to Parthi. And then after that, go to get my admission done. So my admission was supposed to happen on a Wednesday. So we decided to go a little early. So Friday evening, so Saturday, Sunday, Monday and Tuesday, I'll be there in Puttaparthi and then go to Bangalore and get things done. And my mom's sister lives in Bangalore, so it was not a big deal. We had everything arranged. So so as I said, I went to Swami school. So basically, I can use old students line, right? For those who don't know, so if you've been to the Parthi, it's like old students line is like where all those garages are there. You can sit in front of that, and you can enter from the back gate where all the students enter. And so you don't have to stand in line. And usually this was the June time-ish. So it's not very crowded in Perth usually because it's school started, people don't come. It's not very crowded. So I go there and I've seen a couple of my friends and I'm sitting with my friends and they're like, hey Krishnan, why don't you go and sit in the front seat? And I'm like, no, I don't sit in the front seat. Oh, I forgot to tell you what happened before that. So before that, we were discussing on this, and my mom usually gets a lot of Swami streams. My mom usually, like even now, she gets a very good detail about dreams of how what's happening and like what to do and stuff like that. And she's pretty accurate. So I can give a different story later, but yeah, so she's pretty accurate. So I had taken like a pre-bail with her. So I said, yeah, Swami's blessing, but that should happen in real and not in your dream, because I don't know if your dream is true, right? You can be telling you got a dream. How do I know you got a dream? So I do not trust that. So that was my first condition to my mom. My mom was like, okay, whatever, your choice. And he was like, I'll let Swami handle it. And so we go to there, and then so I can sit in the front line because it's very easy for students to get front line, all students, and especially in that time frame when not many people are there. So but I was like, oh, okay, if I sit on the front line, there's a very high chance that Swami would come and talk to me and Swami would give me some instruction, and the moment Swami says something, I would follow it, right? Like there's no deal breaker on that. So I'm like, okay, I will sit in the back seat. And I'm like, after admissions, I can come back. I can tell my mom I'll travel 2 days back to my home, and I can just come back and sit in the front row and see Swami. So once admission is done, then things are different, right? So that was my plan. And I had this whole nice plan and everything. So all the 4 versions, I was, all the one Saturday evening, Sunday morning, okay, 6 versions. I was like trying to sit in the back, and my friends were asking, why are you not getting? And I'm the guy who always used to go and sit in front, and like I'm sitting in the back. I just like that. And so Sunday, nothing happens. Swami comes, Swami goes away. I'm like, okay. Monday, nothing happens. And so this is Tuesday. This is the last, literally the last darshan, and we have to leave after that. So after morning darshan, there's a bus. We have to get the bus. So that happens, and I sit in the back as usual. So Swami comes and he comes in front of me, and as if he is looking at me, he looks at me and gives this wonderful smile. So I was like, oh my God, I know that smile. And I'm pretty sure in my heart, right, when you have done wrong and when you do have done something and you sit in front of Swami, it's up to you. So I looked at him and I'm like, oh my God, something has happened. I'm sure I have to be worried. And then I wait for bhajans to be over. I go outside. And so usually me and my mom have a meeting place because I'm pretty sure boys and girls separately. So we have a meeting place. And so there's a Ganesha near the shopping center, not the one in the front. There's a different Ganesha, the one Ganesha holding an umbrella. So because here it's crowded, we usually try to meet there. And then my mom was so as I was walking up to her, my mom was very happy. I'm like, that's not good. That's not a good sign for me. I mean, not because my mom is happy. And Swami laughed at me. So I was like, something is happening. And then I went to her. So she asked me, and she's chanting. And so she asked me with her hand, keep pradakshina. So she asked me to do the rounds. So I did the rounds and I stopped. And then when she comes back, she's done. I go to her and I'm like, yeah, let's go. She's like, no, we are not going today. We'll go tomorrow. I'm like, no, tomorrow morning I have to go to the college. She's like, no, your admission is canceled. I'm like, what? And she goes like, oh, so today I actually got a front seat. And Swami came and said to me, he has to be always. So the beauty part of it, Swami said to my mom, not that I should not go to the college. Swami says I should go here. And Swami adds to it saying that he has to be under my supervision at all the time. And so I'm so lucky that Swami said that I have to be under his supervision all the time. But think about me at that situation. I'm like all set to go to Joseph's. I have an admission in Joseph's. All I need to do is go sign up. And then that's when this happens, right? I'm like so sad. But that's a beauty, right? And the beauty of that is because think my mom is just a normal devotee. I mean, normal devotee in the sense she's not a Sai student or anything, right? So she has to stand in the normal line. And for those who don't know, it's a token system. So how much chance does she have that the line she sits get token number 1 or 2, and she's able to sit in the line 1 or line 2? So she didn't get that. But what happened was that she felt like drinking water because Swami was a little late at that day. And then, so when she drank water, my mom's friend saw her and made her sit next to her. So that seat was technically reserved for my mom's friend's daughter. But that daughter came to Mantir and then she went back and she couldn't come back for some reason. And so that seat, then my mom could take that seat, and that happened. And like you see how Swami played everything so nicely. He kept giving me the hope that whatever I am doing is going to happen. And the last moment he comes and breaks it with an axe. It's like, nope, I know what I want you to do. So that's it. That's done. Right now, there's no point. And like, there's no way I can go there. So that's how Swami is. I mean, but even then the beauty is there, right? Like, even though I was sad, thinking back today, I'm so happy Swami did that for me because the words, right? He has to be under my supervision. I mean, that's also a bad thing, but it's a good thing for me. Like, he needs to see me. So my mom used to say, joke, like I'm a very naughty kid. I was always a naughty kid. I'm still a naughty kid. You can ask Jwala, you can ask the YA coordinator Jwala. She'll say how bad I am. So what happened was that my mom always used to tell me that when I was in at one point she could never control me, and she's like, I cannot control him, so I'm sending you back to him. So you take care of him. I asked so much for a male child, but you gave me such a vanara, that such a monkey that I cannot control. So you take it back to him. That's what my mom always used to say to me. And it's funny because that's how Swami calls us, right? Like, I don't know how many of you know the story, but many of you might have heard it. Swami always calls all the Swami's kids as Vanaras. And one thing Swami says is, when Rama, after finishing the war at Lanka, was coming back with Sita Devi, they're coming in Pushpaka Viman, right? So at that time, all the monkeys wanted to come with Rama. All the Wanderer, I'm saying monkeys, but it's technically the Wanderers. So the Wanderer Seva wanted to come with Rama. And so them both being the merciful they say, okay, get onto the Vimana, we'll take you. So the Vimana is fully crowded. Every inch there is a monkey hanging on, like onto the bar, onto the other bar, and it's going like that. And as Swami was going, this is Swami's narration. So as Swami, they were going, Sita Devi is like, there are so many people going and around. And as Swami reaches near Whitefield, Sita Devi sneezes. So because of the sneeze, it's so crowded, right? Some of the monkeys fall down. And that's Brindavan. And when Anantapur happened, Sita Devi turned to the other side and sneezes once again. So this time, all the lady monkeys fell down. That is Anantapur. And as the flight was moving forward, because now twice you sneezed, right? So Rama also felt the urge to sneeze, and he sneezed once again. And that's how the Parthi was formed. So that's what Swami says. All of us are like Vanaras. And that's exactly true in my nature. I have never been able to sit in one place for more than 5 minutes. So that's how it is. So that's how Swami is, right? Swami, every time Swami has to do this, he somehow connects with us. And it's a nice experience to have that, but it's sometimes frustrating, but it's always nice. Trust me, when you know that there's a divine mother who is looking out for you, that's such a fun feeling to have. And I appreciate, and I really thank Swami for giving me that opportunity. Sriram, do we have time? Can I go a little more?
Sure. Yeah, you have. I think it's about 6:23 right now, so you still have a good 7-8 minutes.
Okay. So one other incident, like I would like to tell you again, relating to how Swami and mom is. So you would know, right? Like when you're angry with your mom and when you mess up with your mom, usually she gets mad. So our moms, they can literally say to you, but before saying, how can you identify that your mom is mad? The way she treats you, right? If you're coming back from school, let's say your mom, whenever every day when she comes back from school, when mom is talking to you, that means she's happy, and whatever food she gives you usually means that she's in a good mood. And if she's really good mood, you get really good food. So Swami has to do the same thing with me, okay? And I can tell you, I was not the best kid. I don't know why I'm like this, but I'm not a good kid. But so I used to do all kind of mischiefs, and Swami has the same way of treating me, the same way. So this was when I was in college. A couple of incidents before, which I'm not sharing right now. We can go into details later. But Swami had given me specific warnings, and one of the warnings Swami had specifically given to me was about malpractice. So in India, we were all kids. We all helped each other. We all did crazy stuff. So it's not a big deal. So I was in college, and I was caught. I was actually technically debarred because I helped one of my friend, and this was a programming lab exam, and I wrote the program for my friend, and I gave it to him. Long story. So let's forget that. So I was caught debarred, right? So I was supposed to be debarred for 1 year, and so I'm praying, and so there's a meeting, and then all these things was happening, and so this was one of the last exams, so there's no exams after that, and then the decision would be taken 15 days after. So I called my mom and I talked to her, and she's like, okay, she's mad, and like everybody is mad at me. And so next thing I do is I don't want to go home. I'm going to go to my home, which is Puttaparthi. I want to go see my divine mom. So I take the bus, I go there, and I go and sit. So this time now I want to talk to Swami, right? I want to ask him forgiveness. So I'm sitting in first line. So remember that I was there for 4 days. Okay. Every single darshan, I'm sitting in the first line. So the first day, Swami comes. Okay. There's a person sitting next to me. He was my friend. He was giving a letter. Swami takes letter from him, talks to him, okay, pats on his back, immediately turns the other side and walks away. So I'm sitting right next to me. I did not, Swami is like, didn't even care. Day 2, Swami didn't even come to that section. Day 3, again, the same thing repeats. So this time it's more beautiful. He shows me he's really mad at me. So the guy sitting next to me, so 2 people before me, Swami talks to him. So we are all students. So we get more easy darshan. I'm sitting still in line 1, talk to him, turns away, crosses me, comes back to this side and walks away. So it's like I am the only person Swami has ignored. So Swami is ignoring me for past 6 darshan, and this is my last darshan. So I'm like, at this point, I knew that I have messed up my life. So I've messed up something really bad. If I don't get it corrected right now, I'm going to be in trouble. So this is how Swami treats you. So this is Swami's way of knowing you have done bad. you have to repent. So immediately after the darshan, I run into my room. I fall at the altar. I'm like, some stabaradam, like, I'm sorry, I know, but do not treat me like this. And I'm literally crying. I'm like, tears are flowing down because Swami is ignoring me. And like, that's the last thing. Like, I'm usually a person who gets really offended if somebody ignores me. And now think my divine mom is ignoring me. And that has never happened. And I'm sitting right in front in the first line in Parthi, wanting just to see him smile. And he has not done that for the past 3 days. So this is the last day. I'm like so sad and I'm crying. And then I go to, like, that was an evening darshan, so I didn't eat dinner. I didn't eat anything. My friends came and asked me. I'm like, I don't want anything. I'm just crying, and I go to bed. And I'm like, okay. Next day morning, I wake up and I had lost hope because Swami. I don't think even Swami will talk to me. So that day, I just put whites on. I'm so sad. My friends know that something is there because my face is all red. It's all blown up because I was crying all night. And I go and sit there. And so today, and I'm like, as Swami's, the music starts, right? When the moment Swami enters, your music starts, and I'm praying, I'm sorry, Swami. I'm like, all I'm saying is, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'll not repeat this. So he walks. This time is so beautiful. He comes right, like he's not even looking. So he's on the other side, and he goes, and then suddenly he turns and comes in front of me, smiles at me, and taps on my shoulder and just walks away. And that was enough for me. I mean, he didn't have to say anything. That tap meant everything. I go back to school, everything is fixed. I did not get debarred. I just got an F in that subject, and I had to do some, extra assignments and stuff like that. And a little bit of, repression for what I did. That's all fine. But that's how Swami handled me. Like, that's how Swami handles me even today. Like, I have a lot of experiences like that every time I do that. But that's Swami's way of showing to me that I've done wrong. And these are little subtle messages which Swami will give to you all. So when you're and I mean, I know that Swami is no more there in his body, but if you look around, Swami is always giving those subtle messages. It takes time for us to understand those subtle messages, but once you start catching on to that, be careful. He's going to treat you like that. And I can tell you that's the last thing I want. And I said to you, right, Swami's wrath, that's the last thing you want. I mean, it's not a wrath, but it's the Swami's way of showing that he's mad. That's something you do not want to get into. And so that's something I would like to share, since I think it's already time. I would like to give time to others. So once again, Sriram, I really appreciate you giving me this time. Thank you. Sairam.
Hey, Sairam, man. I mean, one of the great things of being in this role for me is to meet characters and personalities like you, dude, in the sense that you're you're one of those straight shooters who says it as it is, who speaks from his heart. And everything that you spoke today, I mean, there was no playing to the gallery, and you spoke from your heart. And that's the kind of YAs we have, and it's so amazing. I know we're almost time here, but the point is, can you share one or two incidences, say one incident or sort, which is just funny, plain funny, no messages and stuff that you found that you enjoyed during your birthday days? Anything that comes to mind, sticks to mind, that's pretty funny in one sense?
I mean, things, okay, so things are so funny, right? Like, I mean, so okay, so there's no message in this, but yeah, this is funny. So this is one of my friend. It happened in our college. So one of the rules in when I was there, I don't know if it's still there, but was that um, that you're not supposed to take food to your rooms. You're not supposed to eat it in the mess hall, or you can take it if you're sick, and there are some rules and things like that. And the other thing which they enforce, and I think that should be enforced the most, is that you should not waste food. So there are a couple of checks to do that. So I had a friend of mine. He was a little bit stout guy. Let's call him stout, and he used to like to eat a little bit extra food. So this was dinner time, right? And we had chapati that day. So he had chapati, but I think he was not satisfied, and I think we were also in the exam time frame. So he wanted to have a little bit later. Usually exam. I think that was the case. I forgot what it was, but funny story. So he actually got some extra chapati, and he hid it in the glass. So now, what happened was that so after the dinner, you also get a milk. You can get milk, and that milk you're allowed to take it to room because it's usually super hot. Like for some people drink it like that, but for me personally, I cannot drink that milk. It's super hot. So I usually used to take it to my room, let it cool down for a bit, and then have it. So he was walking with that, and one of our teachers comes in front of him, and he's like, "Emra," like he asks him the question, "Hey, what's that?" Because as he sees the teacher, he's like a little bit, scared. Now, what happens if he sees me? So he's scared, and he's walking. So he's like, "Emra." So Chupi, and so he's like asking him to show that, and then it's funny. So yeah, so I was there. I was like, my friend was like, we know what was happening. And so then, as it was happening, we were like, okay, this is going to be fun. So we were not looking. And so then he's like, no, this is milk. I'm just taking it to the room. I'll drink it later. So the teacher was not satisfied. So he's like, no, you have to show me what it is. Show me, it's milk, right? Let me see. What is the problem? You can take milk. Show me. And so he's like, oh my God, I'm in trouble. So he's holding the glass like this, and he's covering this hand with the glass, right? And that's how he's walking. So teacher's asking, why are you covering like that? And he's like, oh, I don't want it to spill. So he's giving his random reasons, right? So now he's caught. So he waits for a few minutes. He has to show to the teacher. So he holds it like this, and he holds it like this, and he prays, and he's like, and then he opens, like he sneaks into it, and then he opens it and he shouts, oh, miracle, miracle, Swami's miracle, Swami's miracle. So the teacher is taken aback. What happened, right? And he said, Swami just turned milk into chapati. So that's when he starts shouting. Swami just turned milk into the chapati. And the teacher who was there could not stop laughing, right? Like, think about it. Like, that's how we act. Like, we get caught, but we have to get out of the situation. And so he's just starts shouting. The teacher goes, hey, this thing, and he said, Pora, and he just kicks him. So that's how we are. So it's not like we all are like, I mean, we all are great kids. Most of us are really good kids there. But we all had fun. And growing up there was, I mean, it's always fun. So one thing I can say, right? Like I wanted to go there when I was young. I always wanted to go there because I saw a couple of my other people from my Samati or my Sai center go there, and I was always wanting to go there. So, but then again, Swami says there, right? When you come here, Swami himself says, it's like how Swami invites you to Swami's school is he keeps the stick in his back, and on the right hand, he keeps the butter, and he shows the butter. So this is how Yashoda used to treat Krishna. So she would keep the stick behind her back and show the butter. Krishna, being attracted to the butter, will walk to the butter. The moment he comes there, he'll catch him and give him. So when we went there, we used to have fun. It was, I mean, we had a lot of restrictions and things like that, but it was a fun time. I mean, sports days, this, all of that was really, really funny things. So we all enjoyed living there. I mean, yeah, and even now, and now is what I realize. Now, when I think back to those years, my 2005 to 2007, when I think back, it's crazy. That was my golden years. I really wish I could go and relive those 2 years of my life.
No, I mean, I can only imagine, man. Stuff like that when he starts yelling miracle, miracle. That's hilarious.
So
I can picture it totally. I mean, it's just amazing. Again, I mean, I think you can keep talking. I'm sure you have so many stories and stuff of that sort. There's so much to share. But I just wanted to quickly open it up to the rest of the folks if they had any questions for you, anything to share, anything of that sort.
I think, Krishna, I have not seen you or met you. This is Ravi Uncle, and I think you brought up a very good point that when I go back to Dwaraka, your mother was Yashoda.
Mm-hmm.
Your Krishna's mother was Yashoda, and you brought up a very good point saying that she had butter in one hand and the cane behind, and it's exactly Swami. I would say he hooks you with his love and then cooks you with your discipline.
Yep.
The most important thing, even with a worldly mother, if you look at it, I really love. I also get emotional with a mother. Sometimes when you live with them, you take it for granted. But a worldly mother, you give her spice and she makes good food. You give her a house, she makes it a home. And you give your heart, she gives her life. And I think Swami being a divine mother, what else we would be abject failures but for his unstinted love. And the one thing that I liked, as Sriram also pointed out, making mistakes is easy. but accepting it and openly, publicly talking about is very, very hard. And I think it's the hallmark for spiritual growth. I would say you might have an F grade in your action, but you have a spiritual F, which is faith, that got you out of trouble. We would
Thank
love
you.
to hear more from you.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Uncle, and that's 100% true. I mean, not just in those cases. I mean, I mean, I can say I've definitely, as I introduced myself, I'm not. I mean, please don't think like all Swami students are like me. I'm like one of the bad things. Swami is like other things. Swami says is, I had to keep some of these guys close to me, because if I let them out in the world, they'll turn the world upside down. At least with me, I can handle them. So I am that one of the exceptional cases. Swami had to keep close to him. Otherwise, I would have turned the world upside down. So most of the other kids are, and 99% of the other kids are really good. But I have made my own share of mistakes. But my love and my faith to Swami and his blessings and his grace and my parents' grace has always helped me, get back on track. So I really appreciate it. Thank you, Uncle. I really appreciate your advice.
Yeah, man. If not for you being you, you're the self-proclaimed rebel, we wouldn't have these stories, dude.
Yeah, I was a rebel. Yeah, I never took anything for granted. I mean, I never wanted to trust. Like, I mean, whatever happens, my questions were, why should I do this? And Swami has always given me the answer, why should I do this? And even today, I follow that to the T, I can say, because if somebody comes and says to me, do this, my question is, why should I do this? I'm not going to believe and do it. But the good part of Swami is Swami actually doesn't want you to do a lot of things, right? Like many a times you will hear they're saying, oh, you should do this, you should do that. But that's not how it works. Swami is always, Swami, for every person, Swami knows that this is the best path for him. And Swami lets you follow that path. Swami never comes and says to you that you should do it. I mean, there are a lot of lot more funny incidents I can talk about, but, due to lack of time, I don't want to take up Kavya's time. So I'll hand it back to Sriram.
Sure. Another day, always. Yeah, there's so many.
Sure.
Yeah, but thank you so much, man. Thank you so much, dude. It was a joy listening. Okay. Yeah,
Sure.
I know. And I think with that, we'll probably move on to Sister Kavya. You think that our students are able to see, Sai's magic, even without having a connection to his form? And here you see folks like him who have a connection to the form and have had the experience of the form. And then there are people like Kavya who have had a connection with the Shirdi Sai avatar, and I think she'll kind of touch upon that. So Kavya, take it away. I don't want to take much of your time.
Thank you, Brother Sriram. So, firstly, I thank Baba for giving me this opportunity to speak about my experiences with him, which is literally my whole life. And I hope and pray that he speaks through me today. So, actually, last session, when Brother Sriram messaged me right after session saying, sorry, we didn't have time to cover your experiences. So my reply to him was that maybe Baba is planning a bigger surprise or a bigger experience between now and the next session. And actually, I want to start with that experience. So that is exactly what happened between the last session and this session. Was I had some tremendous experiences, and I think let me start with that. So like everything is virtual nowadays, so I have been actually part of one virtual chanting session. And basically the concept of that group is that you spend 15 minutes every day just in namasmaranam. In any guru, it can be just sai, or you can do mrityunjay jap, gayatri mantra, it's up to you. So I just joined that group, and 15 minutes every day I was doing the chanting of Mahamrityunjay mantra. So I would do 108 times, and whatever time was left to fill the 15 minute, then I would follow up with Baba's Naam Jap. Um, so what happened was the group initially signed up for 168 hours. So as a group, when you finish 168 hours, which is one saptah, we would stop. But we finished 168 hours within 3 days as a group, and everybody decided that okay, let us continue. And what is the need to stop? And it's I think been a couple of months, and we are still continuing, and nobody wants to really stop. But what has happened was the person who led this session, um, I learned this through a common friend that her son was undergoing cancer treatment, and that's why she started this initiative so that the cancer treatment goes well and recovers. I think the recovery period was going to take a long time, but it was a miracle that when she went for a regular session with her son for the regular chemo session, I think the doctor tried to find the trace of cancer where he had to actually do the treatment, and he searched in and out, but he couldn't find any trace of cancer, and
Wow.
it suddenly disappeared from his body. And so it brought tears into my eyes, that it is tremendous that it's been years since Shirdi Sai Baba's Mahasamadhi, but still to date, I think people can feel the experiences. So it was tremendous to hear that, let alone, the treatment being successful, but they could not find the traces of cancer in the body where they had to do the treatment. So everything disappeared from the body. And yeah, so she continues. Needless to say that the Namjap and all of that continues. So yeah, that is one experience I wanted to start with. So that just very recently happened, and had Baba not postponed, I think my sharing session to this week, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to share that in this session. So that was I think a really touching experience for me. Um, I think when I talk about experiences, and when I was asked, I think, brother, when you reached out, okay, can you please share experiences? It's very difficult to pick one or two experiences, because the way I like to think about it is, every single day of my life is a small miracle in itself. It's a small experience in itself. If you think about it that way, I think. Baba really helps you in every little way that he can. And like Baba says, I give you everything, that you want until you ask what I want to give you. So I think I'm still in the phase where I'm, still treating him like a wish fulfilling tree. But hopefully one day I can definitely reach to that point. But I'll try to share some of the experiences which have had a big impact on me, and just a small collection of different stories throughout my lifetime. I think I'll try to do that. Um, One of the other recent experiences I have had is during the COVID time. So my grandfather, who is in India, he got affected with COVID. So he got COVID positive, and basically he's 80 years old. He is diabetic. He has had heart condition. So literally everything on the checklist that you should not have with COVID, he has had that. But I'm very, very thankful and very happy to share the news that he has recovered well, and he got admitted into the hospital at the time when there were no ICU beds available anywhere in the country. We were able to secure oxygen concentrators at the time, again, when getting an OC was extremely difficult. So how Baba just miraculously arranged different things and made sure that he comes back safe, it is just difficult for me to express into those words. During the time when he was at the hospital, he was facing some kind of hallucinations, I think, because I've heard that it is one of the common symptoms, that um, if you are at the stage where you're admitted, then it is possible that you might have some hallucinations. But I don't know if this is a hallucination or it's a reality. But he had shared that on one of the nights, or I think consecutively the nights that he spent at the hospital, he was constantly getting a dream at night that Baba was coming behind his bed, and he was tapping on his shoulder, and he was saying, I'm here to take care of you, so you don't need to worry. And he was constantly getting that dream, and we were like, what is my grandfather saying, right? I think he's probably hallucinating, or what is it? But to this, I would like to share one thing, that dreams are very powerful. dreams are extremely powerful when it comes to, I think, any guru, any god, any sadguru, because that is one direct way of communication with the Almighty. So I have had many such experiences where I have had a question in mind and I've had a dream, a following dream which has answered that question. Um, so I think dreams are extremely powerful, but I have not had too many dreams. I have not had too many experiences where Baba has come into my dream and directly shared something. I look forward to those experiences. There have been very little such experiences. Um, and one such experience has been is I like to do the Parayan of Guru Charitra, which is basically a collection of stories of Lord Dattatreya. And it has been my experience that every time I have read Guru Charita, there has been something special that has happened. And I don't want to go into things like Vibhuti manifestation or flowers falling from Baba's portrait. I think all of us here has had or heard about some of those experiences. But something which was very special was so Satya Sai Baba actually, he came into my dream after my last Guru Charitra Parayan. And basically, I was trying to take Pada Namaskara. So I was trying to touch his feet. But before I could actually touch his feet, he held me really tightly. And he just really tightly on the shoulder and he just picked me up. Um, so that was, I think, that was beautiful. This was also the time when my grandfather was in the hospital. So I think Shirdi Sai Baba coming in my grandfather's dream and Sat Sai Baba coming in my dream around the same time, I think it was beautiful experience for us. But obviously we are more happy to share it now because he has come back safe and recovered well. So cannot thank Baba enough for everything that he has done and continues to do. I think I don't really have one turning point or anything like that to share where I would say that, okay, this is the thing which changed my life entirely and has made me a staunch devotee of Baba, because there isn't anything like that. My parents have been Baba's devotees, so I have always seen pujas or bhajans being offered to Baba. Um, I've learned bhajan singing from my parents as well. So I don't think I have any one particular turning point, but I have seen it as a family tradition, I would say. So it kind of inherited into me from that point. Um, so I have spent my childhood in Gujarat. So I was there until I was in grade 9. I moved to Canada when I was in grade 9, and I've had many experiences in Gujarat as well. But basically, my experience or my relationship, I would say, with Baba has always been kind of like a best friend type of a relationship. So when I was a child, if I would get any new toys or any new clothes, any new devices, anything that I would get, I would take it and put it near Baba and make sure that it stays there for a couple of hours. And I would see that my mom is doing prayers, but I couldn't do all those prayers. So then I would basically simply just pick up my prayer book from school and then try to read some English prayers and Sanskrit shlokas, and then be satisfied that okay, I'm also doing something for Baba and spending some time. So that was the kind of, like, I would say, very traditional or very ritualistic kind of a person that I was when I was back in India. Um, and one of the experiences that I had in Gujarat was, I think that it was a time of some communal rites or something like that when I was there. And basically the entire state was shut down. And I was in Surat at that time, and basically there was no transportation, you couldn't leave your house. And my brother, who was very little at that time, I think maybe around 3 4 years of age, or so, and he fell very severely ill, and we had to go to the hospital, which was about 50 kilometers from where we lived. So we were in a power generation colony. So my dad used to work in power generation. So the colonies that are for power generation are usually many kilometers or miles away from the actual cities. So it was 50 kilometers in Surat is like an hour and a half drive at that time. Um, so we could not, unfortunately. So he was very severely ill, and we actually were able to, I think, travel in car for a certain distance, but we could not actually reach to his pediatrician because of all the lockdown that was happening. And we were actually standing in the middle of the road, and I remember this very clearly, although it is many years back that this happened, because of the impact that it really had on me, I would say. We were standing in the middle of the road, and basically I think we still had about 15 minutes journey or something like that to complete. But we were waiting for something to show up, an auto or taxi or something, because we were not allowed to take our transportation. Out of nowhere, an auto showed up, and the auto driver, he was dressed in a kafni, in a white kafni, which looked exactly like Shirdi Sai Baba's attire. He had long beard and stuff. We were a little skeptical and a little nervous because he looked a little not too well dressed up, I would say. We were a little scared also because we don't know where this auto has turned up in this scenario where there's no transportation allowed or anything like that. But we actually had no other choice because my brother was ill and we had to take him to the hospital, so we had no other choice. So we decided to step in, and my dad started communicating to him where we had to get to. And he started saying, okay, this is the hospital, this is the address. And he said, Mujhe sab pata hai beta, you don't need to tell me. So that he's saying, I know where you need to go. You don't need to tell me. I will take you there. That's what he said. And we were like really nervous to answer back to him um, because of the whole, I think, climate that was generated during that journey. So we just kept quiet and see where he was taking us, and he literally took us to the hospital area where we wanted to go. We got down, and we just verified that the doctor is there, the hospital is operating. We turned behind to pay the money. The auto and the driver disappeared, so we did not find him. He was gone. So by the time we could just step down and just see where the hospital is, and that the doctors are available and pay his money, he was not there anymore. So that person, whoever it was, he dropped us off at the hospital at the right moment. My brother was able to get the treatment that was needed. Um, and, uh, and we never saw him again. So till date, I mean, we don't know what happened, and we did not pay him or anything like that. Um, and I would wonder, I mean, in the time when auto drivers would like to get some more money from you, I mean, why would they disappear without getting the money? Or where would they go? I mean, where can they go in such a communal rights situation? So we don't know. And I think it doesn't matter. We don't need to know also. So I think that incident had a very big impact on us. It remains as a beautiful memory, I think, in our minds. um, but yeah, I think my experience with Baba has basically been that he has never really returned me empty handed. So he knows what to give you, when, and how much to give you. He also knows what not to give you. It is just for you to have 100% trust. So not like a doubting trust, but 100% trust and faith on him, and he will give you what is the best for you at every point in your life. Um, so we moved to Canada in when I was in grade 9, and basically after we moved to Canada, I think that really marks my true journey or transformation, spiritual transformation, I would say, from the person that I was in Gujarat. Very traditional, very ritualistic in nature. That okay, you have to do this. So then okay, I will do this in this order. Um, we moved to Canada, and basically, one thing which we always had in mind. So my mom, she was the first person, I think, in the family who started the whole worship of Shirdi Sai Baba, and being attracted to or attached to Baba. And so she was very worried that if we move to Canada, how are we going to find a Baba temple in Canada? Is and this was the time when Google, internet. I mean, it's not as prominent as we have today. So that was one of her biggest worries, and that is the only thing that she really prayed for. Not like, okay, we should get well settled in Canada or anything like that. Just help us find a Baba temple, and I know that everything else will fall in place. Um, so we moved to Canada, and basically we had inquired a lot. Actually, we did not have a lot of friends, or we didn't know too many people. But basically, from my mom and dad's workplaces, and then my schooling, then whatever connections we could make, then we would ask people, and then people would like, yeah, there is one Baba temple. It is just getting started, but we don't know where it is. And this was a time when they didn't have any website or anything like that. They did not even show up on Google. But today, that temple is the biggest temple in Canada, biggest Shirdi Sai temple in Canada, and the idol is actually bigger than the idol in Shirdi. And it was carved by the same Talim Parivar, which actually carved Shirdi Murti. So, but anyhow, so going back to finding this temple, that is a miracle in itself. We made many trials to find the location of the temple. People had told us that it is in some industrial area and they're renting some random unit to start a small satsang or get together or something like that. Um, and we basically tried to go to that area many times, but we actually never really found that temple. But one fine day we were traveling with another friend, and we were going somewhere else, not intending to find Baba's temple, and suddenly our car actually broke down, and it broke down in front of a signal where it's basically like a little intersection, not a big huge intersection, but a small little intersection. It has some plazas around it. So we took a right turn there, and then we are like, okay, let's park our car here and let's see what to do next. We park our car there, and then we look up and it says the Shirdi Sai Mandir of Toronto. And that was like, okay, what is this? Is this the temple? Is this where we have landed? So that's how we discovered Baba's temple. This was 17, 18 years back. Since then, there was no looking around. Every single Saturday, we would go to Baba's temple, and our house is 1.5 hours from Toronto. So where my parents live now, it's 1.5 hours. So one way, 1.5 hours drive, snow, rain, sunshine, whatever it is. He basically, I call it Sai madness. It's like he indulges you in such a madness that you cannot let go of him. And that's where I really learned singing bhaktis and bhajans and everything else. Um, and we would spend about 6 hours there. So we would start with, reading chapters from Satcharitra, Hanuman Chalisa chanting, then singing bhajans, then Dhoop Aarti would be there, then we have prasad, all these sort of things. And then we continue singing bhajans for 2 a.m. at night. So it's like literally none of us could stop singing bhajans. It was that sort of a madness. And the reason why I go into these many details is because when I was in Gujarat and when my grandfather used to host bhajans at his place, basically the bhajans would be at Sunday 6 p.m. Every week. And we would literally curse. We would be like, this is the prime time to watch TV. Why would you put bhajans at this time? And my grandfather is so particular. And that at 6:01 he would close the door, and whoever comes at 6:01 is not allowed to attend bhajans. So he was that sincere, that particular, and basically we were like dragged to sing bhajans. So a person like that transformed into a person who is singing bhajans until 2 a.m. at night and doesn't want to stop. So that's the kind of transformation that I would say that that Baba brought into me, really going from a ritualistic sort of a person. And I'm not saying that rituals are bad or anything of that sort, but really looking behind or looking more than rituals. So, just to give an example, I have a little toddler at home. So she's about 2 years old. So with a 2-year-old baby with a full-time job, it's nearly impossible. Sometimes I don't get time to, let's say, take a bath, put diya in front of Baba, then ritualistically do the prayers and then chanting. um, and and that was kind of stopping me from my meditation sessions or anything like that, because I was like, okay, I have to do this, then I get to go sit near Baba, and then I can do puja. But now I have kind of, I think, look beyond those daily routine type of things. And even if I'm just sitting on my bed, just have a blanket on me, even if I'm not taken a bath, it's totally fine, because meditation or prayer or puja for me, or just connecting with Baba, what I felt is I should not let any of the rituals or any routines or anything stop me from doing that. Of course, if I can do that, then that is great. But if I cannot do that, then that is not an excuse for not spending any time with Baba. And I was feeling very guilty that, I am not even able to take out like 15-20 minutes in a 24-hour day to spend some time with Baba and just meditation or anything. Just close your eyes, just pray to him. I was not able to find that much time. But when I was able to cross this barrier in my mind, which obviously I set for myself, then I think um, it became much easier. I would say it became much easier, and I was at peace with myself. Um, so that is the story about the temple finding. And one of the other very interesting experiences we had was again with my brother. We have the Satyasai School of Toronto, which is basically, I think at the time they only had until grade six, if I remember correctly. So this is like 15 years back or something. They only had until grade six. My mom was very, very particular to get him admitted into Satsai school. But at the time, my brother was in grade four, and there was no chance of getting admission midway through. Either you come in kindergarten or you don't get admission there, because there is they have the rule of 1 to 20 ratio. So one teacher gets 20 students, and they don't admit even 21st student, and they are very particular about that. Um, so my mom was very persistent. She really wanted him to get into that school, which is totally providing you value based education. And getting in the school was also quite difficult. Let alone the kids having interviews. Parents will have an interview, and parents also have class, which every weekend parents need to attend a value parenting workshop to make sure you are properly carrying forward the teachings to the home environment as well. And basically we did apply. Again, Satsai School of Toronto was also in Toronto, and we were in Hamilton, which is again the 1.5 hour drive. But we were like, if he gets admission, we will make it happen. And the teachers basically said they did the interviews, and he passed through all the technical rounds. Everything was clear. My parents also passed through the interview, but they said, we are really sorry. Grade four is like highly unlikely anybody will get their student out in grade four, because I mean in 2 years you'll be graduating, so why would they get a student out in grade four? But we were very persistent, and then my mom was like, that is okay, keep us in the wait list, and even if it's in the last position, who knows what will happen. um, and I think I have to say we were very, very blessed that somebody did get their student out in grade four, and my brother ended up getting the admission in grade four. Although he was just there for 2 years, I think it was one of the most blessed periods in his school education that he was able to receive. And my mom also then ended up volunteering in the school, because obviously if she has to travel there, then it is also good that she's able to volunteer and stay there and then come back with my brother. So I think there is nothing like impossible for him. I think possible, impossible is really, I think, more in our minds. So if you truly desire for something, and if that desire is good for you, then that will definitely come true, is what I believe in. And I don't want to take too much time also. Brother, please stop me if I'm running out of
No,
time.
no, it's fine. I mean, if you're in the zone, go for it. That's what these sessions are all about.
Okay, okay. So I think maybe I'll just close with one last experience, which is related to, I think, my career. So I always wanted to become a doctor. Uh, but when we moved to Canada, almost everybody discouraged us, and they basically said it's going to take a lot of time, and getting into a Canadian med school is next to impossible. So please don't even venture this. And we were new to the country. So I mean, yes, I did spend the high school there, but still the whole university experience. I was the first one from the family, so we did not really have an exposure what the university would look like, what we should, what we shouldn't do. Um, and then I think we listened to everybody, and then I like every any other Indian child, I also had only just two options, which is engineering versus medicine. So then I decided to go with engineering. um, but basically in my back of my mind, I think, if I have to be very honest, I was always kind of gearing towards medicine or becoming a doctor at the end of the day. And I couldn't really get it out of my head. Maybe it is still not out of my head, I would say. And I Although I enrolled in one of the best universities in our province, one of the best engineering programs, but I was never really satisfied. And literally, I would always blame Baba whenever I got the chance for it. I was like, this is the only thing I asked you for, and this also you couldn't do for me. Why did I end up in such a situation? This is I mean, I have always been very, very um, frank in the way I talk to Baba, or my conversations with Baba are literally like I'm talking to my best friend. I will fight with him. I will love him. I will do both sides of the spectrum. Um, so I think that remained in my heart, and I kind of somehow convinced myself that since now I'm not becoming a doctor, and now I'm in engineering field, at least I should get into a very good master's program. Otherwise, then there is no hope for me. That is basically what I told myself. And I have been a very, very studious child from from childhood, and not really the kind of person who can compromise with lower grades. So that has been my personality. um, Although knowing that grades are not really what dictates your anything at the end of the day, but that is how I was since the beginning. So I somehow thought that this was a defeat for my career, that not choosing something. And then I got into the bachelor's program, and basically I wanted to apply for a very, very competitive master's program. This is a master's program, which is basically a research program on autonomous vehicles. And this is a Canada Excellence Researcher was the program name, which is only one of 19 scientists all over the world get that, all over the country get that designation. And there was a particular professor in the university where I was doing bachelor's that had this designation. And this was his master's program. And I was referred to this program from another bachelor's professor, who was basically my mentor. And I would literally cry to him every single day that I have messed up my career and now I have no hope of becoming something or doing something meaningful with myself. So he said, why don't you apply for masters and let's see what happens. It is very difficult to get into his team, but let's see what happens. I mean, there's no harm in applying and seeing. Um, so I did apply to that master's program. But also what happened was, the program admin actually reached out to me, and she said that, Kavya, we have a scholarship application. This is actually a scholarship which is a provincial level scholarship. And she basically told me, don't worry too much about putting too much effort into this application. And basically, if the deadline was Monday, she told me on Friday. And she said, just prepare something and just let's send something in, because we need one representative at least from our bachelor's program. And till date, nobody has been eligible to even apply for the scholarship. So at least you have good grades to be eligible, but you will not get the scholarship. Don't worry, because we have not had even one person get the scholarship from our program. So I was like, okay, whatever, because she's telling me to do something, and then she already lined up references for me. She spoke to my prof, she got my transcripts ready, she got a lot of things ready for me, so I couldn't say no. So I was like, okay, let me apply. And I applied for that scholarship. And like she said, I also did not work too hard because I knew that I'm only applying as a checklist, and there is no chance of me getting the scholarship. But as and also I have to tell you, in the drop down list where you select the bachelor's program that you're in, my bachelor's program was not even listed in the drop down list because nobody from our program ever even applied to the scholarship. So I had to select the other category and I had to explain what I was doing in bachelor's, and I basically applied that way. um, and and as Baba had planned something totally different for me, um, eh, I did end up getting the scholarship, but now the whole route to getting into master's program became much easier for me. Um, because I ended up getting the scholarship, and now my prof doesn't need to pay for my research. But actually, what had happened before this was I had an electrical engineering prof who was the lead of the department within my bachelor's program, and I took my statement of interest. And as you guys all know, all the material that we need to prepare for master's application, I took all that package to him, and I said, "Okay, I'm trying to apply for this in this professor's master's program." He basically took my package and he literally threw it across the table, and I'm not joking. He literally took my package and threw it across the table. And that was very, very insulting to me because I've never seen anybody behave in that manner. I think here, or I don't know, even in India, I don't have too much experience from how the universities are in India, but I can just say that it was extremely insulting. That whole conversation was very insulting. He's like, yes, you have good grades, but they will not even look at your application. Trust me, they will not even look at your application. That those are the words that he used. And as Baba would have his own ways, I did, like I said, I ended up getting the scholarship. I ended up getting admission into the master's program. And then I was able to meet that professor again in the hallway. And he was asking me whether I could refer him to my master's prof to get him into the team. So I'm not sharing this anything to like boast about anything, nothing from that perspective. But I just wanted to share the details to explain what was the difficulty or what was the challenges of even getting into such a program. Also want to mention that the people that got selected for the provincial scholarship, so getting that was difficult, but there were also 10% of the students that were selected to go to the national scholarship. So somehow I also got selected for that. So that was also a miracle because then that way both my years of masters were funded. And that way then my professor, it became really easy for him to get me, although I came from I think not really the field or majors where I was trying to do masters. My bachelor's was not in that field, but it became much easier for him to hire me. And then I also ended up doing PhD with him. So it's like, if I would say, if I would not have had, um, I think the whole not rejection, but the whole experience around not applying for med schools or not going into medicine, and if I would not have created that hole for myself, then I would have never had the eagerness or the motivation to continue so much further in the discipline of engineering. Certainly never in my wildest dreams I would have imagined to do a PhD. Um, and PhD again was very challenging for me. I got married in the middle of my PhD. I moved to US. I completed full-time PhD with full-time work. It was very difficult to complete full-time PhD with no work, but completing full-time PhD with full-time work was extremely challenging, and was very difficult to convince my professors also that I was not going to drop the ball in the middle and I would continue pursuing all of this till the end. Um, but yeah, the reason that I bring all this up is only to share that, again, like I said, nothing is impossible. um, all There's a lot of power in prayer. So I truly believe that in my heart that if there is anything that is meant to happen for you, or if it is good for you, then it will certainly happen in the most beautiful manner. And I have also learned my lessons to not ask Baba to give me something particular. So not go to him saying, okay, can you please give me this job at this company? But just go to him and say, can you do, please, Baba, just do what is good for me. And I know that is going to be the best for me, because I don't know if that particular job, that particular degree, or what is going to be good for me. But just having that faith, blind faith, that what he chooses for you at the end of the day is really the best thing for you. I think that is really the only key thing I would like to share, that there is a lot of power in prayers. No matter what the situation is, how difficult it is, um, just trust on him. And I have had that trust ever and all the way through. And I think just the last experience I would share is I've kind of felt that he has shown his presence in one way or the other in all the major events of my life. So even the birth of my daughter, I would say, many months, I think, before the due date. So the due date was a Monday, and I actually told my husband, please be ready. Either she's going to be born the Thursday before that or the Thursday after that. And I told him this thing many months before the due date, and as Baba would have his ways, I went through, I think, over 30 hours of labor pains, which is like totally unheard of. And we were constantly expecting her on Tuesday, on Wednesday, but no, she was bound to come on a Thursday. So she, as he would show his presence, not that Friday, Saturday, or Tuesday is not Baba Day, but since that is kind of stuck in my head that Thursday is his special day, then he did show his presence. And Baba were also his her first words. So before she said Amma, she was able to say Baba. So I think he continues to show his presence in everything, every sphere of my life, and I'm totally I really don't have words to thank him. I'm totally in debt. I would say, I think, for all that he has done.
No, I mean, just to reiterate, I mean, you're one of you and both Harish, both such sincere students, A plus students, not academically. Forget that you guys are, but of Sai, even be it you, the kind of sincerity and the kind of true love you know, for Baba, and I know how much Harish loves Swami, and actually, tries to live it. And dude's a walking encyclopedia on what Swami has to say and stuff of that sort. It's incredible to have people like you guys, and these are the kind of YAs we have. And of course, Kavya, I mean, you talked a lot about growing up listening to bhajans, and you sing beautifully. So go for it. Just give me something that's close to your heart.
Hey, Sriram, I wanted to just share one thing.
Yeah, go for it.
No, the reason is I want to share was Sister Kavya was talking about how dreams are like actual things, right? So I didn't say that when I was talking, but I would like to share that, because I wanted to tell it. So usually Swami says dreams are actually his way of telling what's happening, right? So it's a very funny story. And I said my mom gets a lot of dreams, and that's why I clearly said in my time that it should not be a dream. So one of the dreams I would like to share is like, my mom, she never watches TV, and so she has no idea. Okay, and like I'm from India. The word cricket is pretty famous, but not football. I mean, by football I mean soccer. So I used to play soccer for my school, my university, everywhere I played soccer. And and I was like very adamant kid. Like if I used to cry if I did not get into my soccer team. So that was my love for soccer. So I've literally cried a lot of stories on that. But once I was going for a university level match, and I think Sonal, I forgot which match it was. So I was actually the day before that in the game, I got hurt. So I knew that next day I was going to be on the substitute team. So I was not going to be the playing 11. So the match was supposed to happen early in the morning. So it was 7:30 to 9:30 match time frame. And then so I didn't call my mom and all, and like I just went and played. So when I called her in the evening to say that we won the match, she asked me, "Did you score a goal today?" So I'm like, "Yeah, I scored a goal today." So that's easy, right? You can guess, goal scoring. But she asked me, "So what is this penalty kick?" For those who don't know soccer, it's when you stand one on one with the keeper and you kick from the spot and you can score, or the keeper can save it. I'm like, what do you mean by penalty kick? I'm like, yeah, you scored in a penalty kick, right? I'm like, yes. but how do you know that? And she's like, oh yeah, today morning I had a dream at 5:30 when Swami came and said to me that, oh yes, so I was worried yesterday because you said you hurt your knee because I fell down badly and it was like a little thing. So she had a dream basically which said that, oh, your son's team will win today, and it's because him. He's going to score a penalty kick, so don't worry. And I had literally told my mom next day I'm not going to play. So this was so funny, right? Like she doesn't even know what a penalty kick is. I mean, she has never seen a football match, and she comes and asks me what a penalty kick is. So that's how dreams are. So you cannot take dreams off by a chance. Okay, if somebody who knows a dream, they can think, oh, my son will score the penalty kick. Okay, that's something she can assume or hallucinate or whatever, right? But my mom doesn't even know what a penalty kick is. My mom doesn't even. I mean, my mom knows soccer because I keep talking soccer, soccer, soccer in my house. But other than that, she doesn't know what a penalty kick is. And I had literally told her I will not play the game. And what happened was that the last moment, they had to substitute one of my friend for some reason. I had to play. And I only played the last 10 minutes. I did not even play the entire game. It was the last 10 minutes I played, and there was a chance, and I had to take the penalty kick, and we scored, and we won the match. So that's how interesting Swami's dreams can be.
Wow. Hey, thanks for sharing that, man, Krishnan. Yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible what you guys are sharing, and I mean, I don't know, it just fills me with so much joy to even be listening to this. It's such a privilege to be listening to all you guys. You guys inspire me. I'm grateful to be in the midst of such people. This is why our the SAI organization and the SAI YAs are incredible, just incredible people. I meet each one of them, and or I luckily get the chance to interact, and I'm blown away each time. I can tell you, it's not even hyperbole that I'm completely blown away, and you guys are getting to see why I'm kind of blown away. But yeah, Kavya, go ahead.
घन घन नील वदन अति सुंदर, घन घन नील वदन अति सुंदर, मेघ श्यामल माधव मुरहर, मेघ श्यामल माधव मुरहर, घन घन नील वदन अति सुंदर, घन घन नील वदन अति सुंदर, मंद स्मित मुख राधा मनोहर, मंद स्मित मुख राधा मनोहर, गोविंद गोपाल नटवर गिरिधर, गोविंद गोपाल नटवर गिरिधर, मेघ श्यामल माधव मुरहर, मेघ श्यामल माधव मुरहर, घन घन नील वदन अति सुंदर, घन घन नील वदन अति सुंदर, मेघ श्यामल माधव मुरहर, मेघ श्यामल माधव मुरहर, घन घन नील वदन अति सुंदर, घन घन नील वदन अति सुंदर, मंद स्मित मुख राधा मनोहर, मंद स्मित मुख राधा मनोहर, गोविंद गोपाल नटवर गिरिधर, गोविंद गोपाल नटवर गिरिधर, मेघ श्यामल माधव मुरहर, मेघ श्यामल माधव मुरहर घन घन नील बदन अति सुंदर.
Keep listening to you, man. That's beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, and when I probably, given that we have 2-3 minutes, I want to let the others, if they have any thoughts, any questions for Kavya, anything, feel free to share.
Hey, Sairam, Kavya, this is Ravi uncle, and I think you're very, very candid, and all of your experiences are more realistic to we can align our realities of life to what you said. One lesson I learned was which was very powerful: continue praying beyond 168 hours. I think 168 hours is a week actually, so go beyond a week to pray, because miracles do happen if we pray. We do not worry, but if you worry, you have not prayed. And that's the key point that I said. And I felt when you accept and have a pure and intense desire that you said, even when your car broke down, you said you made a right turn. Indeed, it was the right turn to the right place. I felt that way. And beyond that, my memory may not be as good, but I will, please correct me if I'm wrong. Your brother getting admitted to Sai School in Toronto?
Yes.
That's one. Your intense desire with Swami, and you getting scholarship into your master's program, and then the national something, I don't know, national scholarship. I think all I could sum it up is with faith in Swami, nothing is impossible. Without faith, nothing is possible. So I feel your faith is the one that takes you all the way.
Sure.
And your voice is divine too.
Explain.
What is that?
I think you beautifully put words to all my experiences.
Oh no, but I might have missed something, but I just summarized what you said. Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else? If not, I mean, when I think of Krishnan's experience, right? I don't know, just the way he said Divine Mother just brought that Ma he ma he ma Sai Mata Jaga Janani Sai Mata Jaga Janani Mahe Ma. That's the kind of feeling I want to leave you guys with. And thank you so much for joining, all of you.
Quick addition, Sriram.
Go
I
for
think
it.
the youth are doing a wonderful job. I truly enjoyed everything today. I didn't even expect to join. I called Jwala for something and she said, come join. So I was glad I did. And today was the day I actually got so many signs from Swami. And this, I didn't even intend to stay fully. But the keynote for me was, I think we should attend more youth programs. And why youth programs? Because youth have transitioned over from childhood to the point where they have not yet really, grasped and become adults and learned the adult ways, I guess, in certain ways, because there's a lot of sincerity. There is the trace of ego is still not held so strong. I think I really enjoyed it. And even the last youth program that I attended was what was it? It was the Aradhana Day meditation. Mm-hmm. Amazing. This and that are truly amazing experiences. And I think I will, after these two experiences, any programs that you put forward, I think I'll make it a point to, make a note and attend. Thank you so much.
I'll count on you then.
Sriram, I didn't know you could sing that well.
Yes, good bhajan.
That was an icing on the cake. Thank you.
No, I mean, it's just that I think, when Krishnan talks about it and his love for his Divine Mother, I think it makes you, it makes you understand why how that song was even written. I think someone like a Krishnan with that much love for Sai as his mother or her mother has written that song, and it just draws you. I think that's what it was. But yeah, I think we're time, at least a minute past. So yeah, thank you so much, guys. It's just been a joy. We'll keep going. Satyam, I think there's a reason that you pushed to next week, like what Kavya mentioned. So And so we'll probably have to catch up to your stuff, and you have a ton of
I think the key, one other thing is acceptance, as Kavya mentioned when she started. So it's important that we accept.
Yeah. But thank you so much, Ravi uncle, for also chiming in. The way you pretty much encapsulate all of it as ever. Amazing. Thoroughly enjoy it. Sairam and Sairam, everyone. Compina thorough joy. Take care.
Sairam.
Sairam.